I'm Robert Ivy, and I've had the pleasure of teaching history at Chipola College for 25 years. I say pleasure because I love the study of history and I've always loved teaching. Recently, I published a novel with Westbow Press. The Day the Angels Came to Dunning is a short, simply written story about hope. Now, when asked about how the story came about, I have to say it came about from a dream. Now, we all have dreams, and sometimes these dreams that we have are easily forgotten and we don't even remember them when we awake. But then other times we have dreams that are very real and very vivid, and we remember them clearly. Well, this was the case for me several years ago. In fact, I had a dream and I found myself standing in a small, old wooden church, like many of the churches that you see in our part of the country. In this dream, though, the church was empty, it was quiet, it was dark. But as I stood in this little church all alone, I look up and I see a group of angels that have gathered in the beams above me. It was a very short and very lifelike dream, but I later remembered it very clearly as one of those just very realistic dreams. Well, because this dream was so real, I decided to see if I could weave a story around this experience. Now, the result was a lot of hard work, a lot of stops and starts, but it resulted in this novel, The Day the Angels Came to Dunning. Not being an experienced writer, it's simply written, and it only requires that the reader draw a visual image of the story. Along with the story of the discovery of these unearthly visitors, I wanted to say that while we live very busy lives, very fast-paced lives, this often gets in the way of us living and seeing the world around us. And that maybe we should slow down enough to live life and see how fortunate and how blessed we are here in America with the simplest of things, whether it's clean water or air or the rights that we have to express our views in America about society, about government, about God and religion. Those are important. Well, as I try to say in the story, God is always present, but sometimes we don't think so, especially when things go badly for us. And as people, we see God differently from our various groups and religions. And I think sometimes we often think that we're totally alone. And we forget that God is the creator of the universe and not just our little blue planet. In fact, for most of us, it certainly is for me, this is way too much for me to comprehend. Also too often, and I try to point this out in the story as well, too often we use religion and we ignore the real teachings of our faiths, whether it's Christianity or Judaism or Islam. And we forget that the basic teachings of all of these religions is love, forgiveness, and kindness. Hopefully, in maybe a simple way, I've tried to express these views through the characters that I created in this story. Hopefully, if you read the book, you will enjoy it and get something from it. Also, hopefully, in reading the book, maybe you can recognize some places that I borrowed from real life, places that possibly you've been or you would recognize. Even if some of these places have different names, to some the location sounds like Dothan, Alabama. Well, maybe. Still, I use actual places by their real names, like Highway 2 in Jackson County, Florida, Blakely, Georgia, Fort Rooker, Panama City, Montgomery, Alabama, This tells the reader if they're knowledgeable about the area where the real town of Dunning is located. Now, hopefully, along with the story, places that possibly you've been or you would recognize. But I hope that the story is one that people will enjoy, as I hope that it makes people come to life in this story. But thank you.